How you doing all? I'm Jake and this is Rave Vinyl Reminiscence. The channel where together we've journeyed through some of the finest beats to tickle human eardrums, rummaging through the vaults, paying respects to some of the great labels, and shining a light on some talented DJs and producers. Now in this episode we continue on that mission by turning the torch onto someone you may or may not have heard about. This guy is a personal favourite of mine right now, and if you don't own any of his records yet, I have to warn you, this video might cost you a few bob. It's time to take our first step into the new school arena. We're checking out the mighty sounds of Radicall. Here we are again, nice to be back, hope you're all doing good. Quite a gap in posting recently, partly because I think it's good to have a bit of space sometimes, but also because I've been busy with many a fun mission behind the scenes. You may remember I was building an old school BMX in the last episode. Well, that's a project that blossomed and grew, as projects do. I finished this build about 3 weeks ago. It's a 1984 Aero Reflex, freestyle frame loaded with loads of nostalgic tasty parts. Skyway wheels, SR stem. It was a lot of fun to put together and I think it turned out pretty freaking beautiful. Anyway, sold that, because such is the nature of the obsession monster that once I started getting my teeth into the magic of these old bikes again, the little 10-year-old me kept nagging relentlessly, hassling me for the bike I'd always wanted at that age. Something very special. But that will have to wait till the next episode, because it ain't a bloody BMX channel. Let's get on with the music. We're going to dive deep into a new school producer this time round, and it's a guy that stumbled very humbly onto my radar a little while back. Radicall, real name Krzysztof Galiński, a DJ and producer based over in Poland. I first got chatting with Radicall after he submitted a track for a Tune ID episode. There'll be many of you out there who have heard of him, like I said in the intro. Maybe some of you have even got a tune or two of his. But I was totally unaware of his work at the time. Now, I ended up checking out one of his tunes out of curiosity. And I was like, what? And that led to the next tune, and the next, and the instant buying of 4 EPs. And basically the start of yet another one of my obsessions. Or healthy interests, as I like to call them. Now if you've been a part of this community for any time now, you'll know I've always been pretty nailed to the old school. I've got a small selection of newer tunes, ones that have caught my attention, and some nice ones people have sent me. But I've predominantly been an old school collector and player. But what really hooked me about Radicall's tunes was the very vintage energy and arrangement of the tracks. As I was listening through belter after belter, it struck me, if someone told me these were undiscovered tunes from '93, I wouldn't have doubted them for a minute. The samples are so fresh though, and the drum patterns juicy as hell. But more than anything else, they just have that certain intrinsic old school magic to them. I sent a few links to my mate Lace in Australia, and he came straight back to me totally blown away. And since then the pair of us have been on a bit of a Radicall spam frenzy, tracking down everything he's pressed. Now there are a lot of great producers out there now, and I know there's some really great work being put out. So this is not going to be the last time I recognise the new school side of things. But in this episode I really want to share with you just a taster of the substantial catalogue of frankly incredible tunes by this one guy. Someone who in my opinion is totally nailing the vintage sound. I'm going to be focusing on the first 5 of his Willow Street EPs, all produced and pressed in the last 2 years. And some of his other releases which date back to 2020. Now there's a lot of amazing tunes to choose from, so I've picked just my favourite 2 from each release. That weren't easy, I'll tell you. Now, quick interesting story before we start. As I was listening to these tunes for the first time, I just kept thinking, there's something about the beautiful depth and feeling of these tunes that keeps reminding me of rugged vinyl. That's a compliment. If you haven't seen that episode yet, check it out. So I emailed Radicall to congratulate him on his music and told him this. And amazingly he told me that the mastering on a lot of these tunes was done by 1087, which just so happens to be Bo Thomas of Intense. Hence the rugged vinyl connection. How mad is that? For someone's energy and influence to shine through that distinctly. Respect to you, Mr. Thomas. Right, enough waffle. Let's get to it and let the music do at least some of the talking. We're going to work our way through the Willow Street releases first. Willow Street being Radicall's own label. And we kick off with number 1, simply named the Willow Street EP. This tune is Forests of the Night. tune to open a set with this, building up step by step with loads of atmosphere, and kicking off nicely with some interesting drum patterns. You'll be hearing plenty of those.
Police of the night.
You get so much variety of energies on these EPs, as you'll discover. Illustrated here when we flip this record over and land on the dark sounds of my second choice. This track is Willow Street, the EP's title track. Proper moody tones there with the howls coming in over the hills. But I love how it switches up 3/4 of the way through. And we get this sweet twist on a tango ratty kind of sound. Nice. Up until recently it was bloody hard to get a copy of this. The first run sold out quickly. These early EPs have had a second very limited pressing done though. Which leads us to Willow Street 2, the closer EP. Now this record had me scratching around all over the internet for a copy. I heard this first tune in a set that Radicall was playing, and it was one of those moments where a track totally grabs you by the jewels. It's called Coming On Strong, and it's a twist on a classic DJ Mayhem tune. A twist with huge party ball bags.
Keep it going now. Feel the bass come down on me. Yeah. Feel the vibe surrounding me.
These tunes are such a delight to mix. Like this track with that tasty run-in that just builds and builds in power. Now after that Enya-esque breakdown there, the tune marches on and hits this beauty of a sample, instantly lighting the place up. Some true amen heaven there. But this is the part I love the most. Barging its way straight into the Premier League of powerhouse rave stab breakdowns. I heard this and I was like, I have to own this record. Get a load of this bad boy.
Gotta keep it going on.
minimal. We're going to play the rest of that as our outro. For me, it's right up there with the best of them ever. Same as the first EP, man. Grab them while you can if you ain't got it. Now the second tune I chose from this EP is on the same side, and it's titled Come Easy.
Come easy.
Once again, oozing with atmosphere there, but this track proper delivers later on. We get this awesome, dark, twisting section here.
Come easy. All cool.
That is a great EP, but they keep coming. We move on now to some very serious territory. The third Willow Street release is the Soundscape EP. This and the next two EPs for me just deliver a wealth of maturity. The first track I've chosen from this record is Oddity. Like I said at the start, these tunes could easily fool you into thinking they were from 93 or 94. I think it's the relative simplicity of their structure that makes them so beautiful and vintage. Not overdone, just the right dynamics and balance. Just check out this wide section here, leading us into the echo chamber. This would sound right at home on a dusty old Ratty cassette from back in the day. The second tune I've chosen to showboat this awesome EP is Selector. Just listen to the intricacies in this. It's all in the little touches. Beautiful samples and engineering again. So that was the Soundscape EP. Every tune on that is a winner and each one unique. Next up, Willow Street 4, and this is the Sleepwalker EP. Taking no prisoners again, these tunes, and just bliss to mix with. First up, I've chosen Roughneck, a track that breaks out into a really unique space here early doors, and then dropping down into yet more tasty sample depths, through journeys in your mind. Radical style, the tune takes another interesting turn later on in the track. I love the way they keep moving like this. My second choice for this bit of wax is titled Melody, breaking out with a tasteful chop here from a tune by Black. Again, plenty of dynamics in this track as it rolls on. Okay, so we're on to the last of the Willow Street EPs I'm going to cover in this episode. This is number 5 and it's the Oblivion EP. Just breathtaking work again on this record. This is Don't Be Afraid.
Don't be afraid.
That's a massive tune right from the initial grooves. It just keeps growing and developing. This bit here with the stabs that remind me of Inner City, it's banging. What a track. I'm flipping this over as with all these EPs. You have more beauties to choose from. This is Universal Drums with its unique samples and a rocket-fueled drum progression.
Synchronize your pulses to the universal drum. Harmonize your voices to the universal tongue.
That driving drum pattern just smashes the place up as it cracks on. And as with all of these tracks, leaves a DJ loads of places to chop and run. So we're going to move away from Radicall's Willow Street EPs now. Like I said, that's just the first 5. There's more, and plenty more in the pipeline, so I'm told. But I want to share some of my favourite tracks now from his slightly earlier work, the tunes he's released on other labels. So we're heading back to 2020. This is the Cantina Cuts label, and this record is the One Moon One Star EP. First track is In the City, nice upbeat track, balances positive energy with some rather tasty sounds. Every record I've played it, by the way, is pressed so nicely. Decent chunky vinyl and lovely clear audio. The second track I've chosen on this release is on the flip side, and it's titled In the Zone. This is a proper tune. We have these high octane rave stabs early on, and a layered drum pattern I just adore. Really is a great happy track this, without being cheesy at all. I played this last night pretty loud and really heard it for the first time. This nice rushy section here really does the trick at high volume. Decent party track. So next up we have another release on Cantina Cuts. This is the In the Shade EP from 2022, and my first choice is the title track. Another one with some inner city stabs, even more so this time. Good Life track from Inner City carries so many memories for me. What a tune that was back in the day. And this In the Shade track is a really good example of the wide variety of tunes you get on these EPs. This vocal section is beautiful, unfolding as it runs.
We fall down with our speed.
Nice. However, this is the one for me on this record. This is called Exit the Light, and it's the proper deal. Talk about dynamics. Listen to this as it drops into this void here, and then taking off again with that unique drum pattern, but it just keeps dropping down. You can almost feel your guts go like you do on a fairground ride.
Let's get into it.
Is a must-have. Next, a subtle switch in style. This 2024 release was pressed on Future Retro, which is Tim Reaper's label. Now, of all the Radicall records I own, this one, I think, is the most jungly, drum and bassy of the lot. Really nice, sophisticated sounds. The EP is simply known by its catalogue number, FR047. And the first track I've chosen for this is titled Chosen. In typical style, the track soon opens up into a wondrous section, before chugging along with a kind of nice mid-set energy. My favourite track on this release is called Beneath the Surface. This tasty early section here, gazing into the abyss as the pace slowly picks up. Okay, so this last release is also from 2024 and it's a double EP. On Parallax, and you get a total of 8 tracks on this baby. I've chosen just 2, so check out the rest of them. This first one is The Awakening, and we're back to some high energy rave business. Now this tune ain't messing about. Things get proper serious a bit later on. I love the 91 kind of Beltram feel to this. Works, and there's plenty more where that came from on this release. I have absolutely loved mixing with these records since I got them. It's just like one after another. Listen to this. Do Anything is the name of that tune. It makes me think of those times when things are really rolling at a rave and you just look over at your mate and you're like, because the intensity of the tunes has just got yes, you need that record, methinks. And that brings us to the end of our selection. Literally just a taster of the things this fella's done to date. Now, before we finish with our playout track, I want to share a thought of you that's been prominent in my recent experience. I mentioned at the start that it's good to take a break from things once in a while. That's true for almost everything, don't you think? But something happened to me in the last few weeks that really drove this home, because it happened quite dramatically and in a very short space of time. So you know, I've been revisiting a very early dream of mine, to own some of the BMX bikes I could only fantasise about as a kid. Now the pull was really strong for me, because the memories of flicking through catalogues and looking at these bikes in magazines was so powerful and clear. When I first started hunting for the bikes that I wanted to put together, I was looking at them on the screen as a 52-year-old man, but totally seeing them through the emotional lens of a 10-year-old. And the reason this was such a beautiful nostalgic experience was because I hadn't opened the lid on these memories for over 40 years. They were perfectly preserved, frozen images and feelings from that time. Now the thing is, as I've mentioned a number of times, I have a rather obsessive nature. So in my usual fashion, I went balls deep into the whole world of restoring and collecting vintage BMXs, discovering a huge community out there I didn't even know existed. I watched hours of videos about the history of the bikes I was putting together, how they were built, where they were built. It's all there now with the internet. When I was a kid, I never knew any of this. All I had to focus on was a bike I dreamed of owning. Anyway, something strange happened. I walked into my living room to make a coffee one morning and looked at the incredible BMX sat there in the corner of the room and was struck by the sense that all of a sudden I felt almost nothing for it. Or rather, I didn't feel the magical excitement anymore. I noticed that when I looked at it, all I saw now was the technical side of things that I now knew. I saw where it ranked in the league of collectible BMXs, all the individual parts I'd sourced and their specifications. Basically, I realised I'd overwritten that simple, magical, I want that bike memory. Overwritten with 100 new 2026 very adult perspectives. This is very much how our memories work, of course. The sad thing is that the more we recall a precious memory, the more we record over it. Each time we play it through in our mind, rather than recalling the original file, we essentially view the very slightly edited version we last ran through. In other words, the pureness of the memory is ever so slightly diluted every time we recollect. Now, of course, like everything in life, this process has negative and positive sides to it. On the one hand, it's important to recognise it as the way we can be gaslit, being convinced that, nah, that's not how it happened. But on the other hand, it's the very process that can allow us to authentically reframe challenging experiences in our life, being able to recall them eventually in ways that might be less traumatic, maybe even more empowering. Anyway, what's your point, Jake? Well, I realised that in order for me to hold on to as much of the magic as possible that I've been searching for, I needed to chill out a little bit from delving into all of the adult technical stuff. Stop watching endless videos and reading about other people collecting, and simply enjoy the bike again for what it is. To reconnect again simply with the wonder and joy of being able to have it. I backed off. And you know, it made me think about my old records, the old school music that I adore, and my memory of the rave days. And it reminded me that if I want to hold on to just how special those things were to me, then I honour them best by not overdoing it. No matter how incredible that old tune is, how much it meant to me as a 19-year-old, if I play it every bloody week as an adult, the magic will eventually dilute. And if when I go out to raves now as a grown-up, I desperately try and relive what I experienced as a teenager, the magic of those times will inevitably dilute too. Because truth is, those times cannot ever be relived. They're not supposed to be. Instead, I can enjoy the new experiences as completely separate and respect those old memories by letting them have their own unique, never to be repeated space in my heart. Radicall's tunes have been really good for me because alongside some other great new school stuff I've discovered, they've allowed me to dive deep into the tracks with no fear of overwriting anything special. They are what they are today. Kick-ass tunes. Tunes that as a 52-year-old man I'm just discovering and loving. Now, having said that, I am lucky enough to have so many old school tunes that I don't need to pull any single one out of the box too often. So when I do, it feels as close as possible to how I used to hear it. I can enjoy them when I want to without overdoing it. I guess my point here is, for so many things in life, the old adage, less is more, really does ring true, if we want them to remain special. Maybe I should rename my channel Rave Vinyl Occasional Reminiscence. Yeah, that's my soapbox reflection done. Do with it as you will. I want to send a big thanks, of course, to Radicall for all the amazing tunes in this episode and the many bangers I haven't featured here. Check them out. We're going to play out with the back end of a track we looked at earlier. This is the tune of Radicall's that first got me hooked. It's just had a limited second pressing, so grab them while you can. I played this at the Stearns reunion gig last month. It's a beauty. Love and respect to you all. I appreciate you. See you in the next episode.
Gotta keep it coming on.
me. Yeah. Feel the vibe, feel the vibe.